Hey, welcome to T&J Panels. We're going to look at what a horizontal panel installation looks like. The first step in a horizontal panel installation is to dig the trench to the specified depth on the permit. A horizontal panel block system is typically installed in a 3-foot wide trench. We're going to check out the sidewalls of that trench. If we're in clay mineralogy and we see a slicked off sidewall, we're going to take a short tooth rake and scratch up that sidewall and try to get back to more of the original soil structure. After doing so, we're going to take a pulverized lime and apply a light dusting to the sidewalls of the trench. This will help to better open the pores of the soil and more readily receive effluent over time. We are then going to place 6 inches of a naturally occurring medium grade sand in the bottom of the trench. We need to make sure that the top of this 6-inch layer is laser tight and is level or up to 1/4 inch of fall per 10 foot. After placing your 6 inches of sand, we will place a 1x6 inch board long ways down the middle of the trench. This 1x6 board will help to keep the panel blocks level upon installation and keep them from sinking into the sand one end or the other. We need to figure out exactly how many panel blocks are going to go into each trench. In order to do so, we must take the linear footage of each trench, multiply that by 12 to get it into inches, and then divide that by 52. When we run this equation, we typically end up with a decimal answer. If your decimal is a 0.5 or higher, we're going to round up and put an additional panel in the line. If it's a 0.4 or lower, we're going to round down. When you're rounding up or down, this may change the amount of spacing in between the panels. A good way to figure this out is to use our panel calculator that's available at tjpanel.com. You can simply plug in an individual line length and it will produce how many panel blocks should go in that trench and at what spacing in between the panels. After we've placed our 1x6 inch board, we will then place the panel blocks on the boards. This can be achieved by using a lift chain like we provide to many of our contractors, which has large J-hooks that will be hooked into each end of the panel. When you're hooking the horizontal panel, make sure to hook on the left side on one end of the panel and the right side on the other end of the panel. This will ensure that the panel does not try to roll upon lifting. Once we get it on the 1x6 board, it can easily be slid into position. We're going to place our panel blocks about 6 inches apart. After we've installed all the panel blocks into the trench, we will then be placing 1.5 PVC to connect the panels together. We will cut the 1.5 PVC to 2-foot long sections. In between each panel, you will have 2 pieces of pipe. The pipe must span from the inner chamber of one panel to the inner chamber of the adjacent panel. After we have placed our pipe, we're ready for foam sealing. To foam seal the panel block, we use a closed cell formula foam like the Full-Fill GP. Check out our website for other approved foam sealers. We will lift the PVC pipe when in place and hold it above the cutouts. We will then put a little bit of foam sealer in each cutout at the bottom. We will then place the PVC pipe down into the foam sealer, and we will then foam seal to the top of the panel block on the outer seals only. We want to keep the top of the inner seals open, so if the panel block is ever filling over top of the PVC pipe, it can flow over top of the pipe and get to the escape port on the outside of the panels, pushing it into the sand rather than letting it continue to surface. Once you've finished foam sealing all of your pipe connections, you will then have one last panel at the end of each line that does not have pipe coming out of it. You'll simply just need to foam seal this all the way to the top of the panel block on the outer seal. After we have our foam sealer all the way to the top on the outside, we're going to place our cap blocks. This helps to prevent backfill from getting into the panel block. After we have placed cap blocks on all ends of the panels, we will then use the same medium grade naturally occurring sand to backfill to the top of the panel blocks in the trench. Once this is achieved, you are ready for inspection. The inspector will check your line lengths to make sure that you dug the proper line lengths in accordance with the permit. He will also check that you have the proper number of panels in each trench. They will again follow that calculation of linear footage multiplied by 12 and divided by 52. They might also lift a couple of your cap blocks to make sure that you piped and foamed correctly with the panel block system. After this is done and inspection is clear, you are ready to place your additional cover over top of the panels. Panels require 4 to 6 inches at least of the natural soil back on top of the panels, which will then be seeded for a vegetative growth. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out to us at our office or check us out at our website at tjpanel.com.